Hello,
My name is Upasana. What's your name?
my name is Lizzie. How are you?
I'm good. What about you? How are you doing?
I'm very good. Where are you from?
I'm from India.
Oh, beautiful. I'm from London in the UK.
Okay,
Which
good
part
to know.
of India are you from?
I live in Delhi.
Ah, nice. That's
Yeah.
great.
So I'm also an English trainer here in India.
Mhm. Oh, cool. So you're an English teacher as well.
Yes, I'm here an English trainer here in India.
Hmm.
So I just want to ask you some questions on behalf of my students. So would it be fine if I ask you some questions?
Ask away.
Okay, so a lot of students are there. They say when they speak in front of the public, so they get nervous. So does it happen with your students as well? And what tip would you like to give to your students?
Yeah, my students, some of my students are working towards public speaking, speaking in front of others, and they do get very nervous. One thing I tell them, one tip is that when you're nervous, if you pause, if you stop, 1 second can feel like a really, really long time to you, but not to someone else.
Yes.
So if you're feeling nervous, it's okay to stop, to take a big breath, to let it out, like, and then continue. It's not, and it feels like a long time, but it will relax you. And to speak slowly and clearly. Yeah, and to prepare beforehand.
Okay, but while speaking with someone that we are comfortable with, if we are talking with our friend or someone, so we feel very comfortable. But when someone is unknown to us, so we get so many fears in our mind that he will judge us if we will speak the broken English or
Mhm.
if we make any mistake. So how can we remove this fear from our mind while speaking?
No, that's a tricky one. So I'm learning Portuguese, and I know what that feels like. That you worry that you won't be understood, or that somebody will not want to talk to you because you think you're not speaking correctly. I think the only thing I can say is go for it. Um, Find a situation where it's not important if you're understood. For example, I love talking to taxi drivers because they're very relaxed and they don't mind if you let me explain more. If you try and talk to somebody in a shop, like somebody who is selling something and they're in a hurry, then you're going to feel pressure. If you're talking to somebody who is, they've got plenty of time, then it's okay. So choose a situation where there's no time pressure. So I love talking to people in taxis. That's good.
Okay, that's nice.
Um, and in markets is good.
Okay.
Um,
And a lot of people say when we are nervous, so because of nervousness, words don't come in our mind. So what should we do that time when the words don't come in our mind?
Ask. So try and describe what word you're looking for. The person you're talking to will love being able to give you information, and then you can learn something as well. So it's okay to ask and say, oh, what's the word, that means it's a bit like this.
Okay, so
Yeah.
we don't need to take like we should not care about others, like what people are going to think about us or
Mhm.
whether they are going to judge us or not.
No, most people they're very, especially in Britain, they're very interested to talk to somebody from India, and
Okay,
they'll be very happy to help somebody with their language. They'll be very excited to help someone learn.
that's good. And what tips do you give to the students who are new to learn English language?
Hmm. As in how to learn.
Yeah.
I think you know, focusing a little bit each day, so little and often on the main areas. And I tell my students to go with what they're interested in. So
Okay.
if they love listening to music, then choose English music and listen to the lyrics and read the lyrics and learn the lyrics. If they're interested in action films. Watch action films. If they're, whatever they're interested in, just do it in English, so that they're excited to learn. They learn vocabulary that's useful to their life. And
Okay. But if we don't have a speaking partner to practice with, if we are new to learn English, so how should we practice it alone?
That's a good one. So there are lots of resources online. So BBC English. I actually really like Duolingo. There are lots of free listening, reading, and writing. Speaking is more difficult, but I think things like Cambly are good. I imagine not everyone can afford Cambly, so which is difficult. So I think, yeah, that one's harder. So I think maybe if you can find a friend who also wants to learn English, and that can be really good. So I have a friend who also wants to learn another language with me. So we make ourselves talk in that language together. And because we're both learning, we don't feel scared to talk to each other. So we can experiment together.
Okay, so why it happens with everyone, like when it comes to write, so we can write very good, but when it comes to speak on the same topic, so it gets very challenging for us to speak on a particular topic.
It's time. So if you're writing, you've got time to think, time to make changes. You can see it written out and you think, oh, that word isn't correct. Okay, I'll put a different. Yeah, when you're speaking, it's in the moment. It's immediate, and that's more difficult.
All right. So, like if we are learning English, if we are new, like if we are a beginner in learning English, so like how should we start learning English? A lot of people give suggestions that we should start with reading newspaper, English newspaper, or books. So, what would you suggest on that situation?
So, if possible, as I was talking about Duolingo before, and for a beginner, first, if they're struggling if they can't afford lessons, or if they don't have time to go to classes, then Duolingo is good because it's free and it starts from the very beginning. So to pick up the first bits, I really love that. And then as you've got a little bit of vocabulary, there is a website called Engu, which has got newspaper articles, and they have different levels. So you can have beginner level up to proficient. Yeah, and you can read newspapers at your level. So that's quite good as well. I also love to take things that I know really well. So for me, I know the Harry Potter books really well. So if I want to learn a new language, I will read the Harry Potter books in the new language.
Okay, a lot of people think that since we are Indians and we like almost all of us we speak in Hindi. So when thoughts comes in our mind, so they come in Hindi only. And when it comes to speak in English, so most of the people convert Hindi to English. But I think that's the main problem. We shouldn't convert like everything from Hindi to English. So how can we get rid of this habit?
What? So you like directly translating?
Yeah, that's true.
So this one, I think it's very natural to want to directly translate, and I think to start off with, that's okay, but you need to learn from what's different. So if you directly translate something, then you need to look at how the rule is different. So thinking, oh, that doesn't quite work. So now I know in the future, every time I'm doing that, I know what the rules are. So look at where the differences are, and then that should make. But I think it's natural to directly translate, and it will just come with practice that you won't need to.
When we are translating everything from Hindi to English, then it takes a lot of time to speak.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
right. So, is there any tip from your side? How can we remove this habit of
Yeah.
converting?
Oh, I think it's just practice. So your brain will want to make the quickest route. When you have practiced lots and lots and lots and lots, then you won't need to. So your brain will just immediately go, oh, I don't need to do that extra bit of work. The information is there. So it's just practice. Unfortunately, there's no quick route.
That's true. We will have to practice a lot for improving this habit.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, and for remembering the vocabulary, what should we do? Because we read newspapers, and most of the people they write just 10 or 15 words in a day in their notebook. So, does it work if we are writing so many vocabularies in our notebook, or we are not using them in our conversation?
So writing them in a notebook is great, but then you've got to, as you said, you've got to do something with them. So I like to encourage people to take the words they've heard and make new sentences with them. And if they hear 5 new words in a day, then to challenge themselves to use those words at some time that day. And so to then start using them. And then once you've done that, you should notice them in other places. And that will help reinforce that information.
Okay, and does grammar matter a lot while communicating? Because a lot of people they think my English is not good because my grammar is not good, or I don't know anything about grammar. So,
No. So what matters the most is the content words. So nouns, adjectives, adverbs. The grammar words, it's not like essential to understanding. And most people, you'll be able to communicate even if it's not perfect. We're going to understand what you mean. Most people, when they're learning English, really want to sound perfect, which is perfectly natural. But just to get talking with people, that if you make grammar mistakes, it's going to be fine. People will still understand you.
and one last question I would like to ask you, that what is the difference between basic English and advanced English? Because some people just use normal vocabulary words, and some people speak that fluently and they use very advanced vocabulary words
Mhm,
so that other people don't understand.
mhm.
So the only difference is of vocabulary, or is there any other difference too in
Um,
advanced English?
So some of the main differences are, well, there's 2 things really. There's vernacular, so slang words, idioms that that make it more difficult. So it's not really vocabulary, but those kind of informal phrases and that's different from America and Britain. And the other thing that makes it difficult is linking between words. So if I'm talking with somebody whose English is, they're still learning, then I'm going to I'm going to separate my words more. If I am speaking naturally, my words get linked together and this creates slightly different sounds. So let me take, for example, if I say, I am, I am English. If I say that naturally, it doesn't go I am, it goes I am. And we get, yeah, and those extra sounds, that yes sound, makes it harder for a beginner speaker to understand what I'm saying. That yam? What's a yam? What?
That's true.
Yeah.
So it only comes with speaking practice, or if we are not speaking, or we are just reading and listening to the
Mhm.
words. So will it help us, or do
Mhm.
we need to speak for practicing these advanced
Uh,
English, for learning
So
this?
linking is a really, really useful thing to explore. So there's some rules. They're not there, and there aren't loads of rules for linking. Once you've learnt them and you've listened out for them, it will become natural to hear them more quickly. So that's one that I do encourage students to learn to hear. It's okay if you don't use them in your own speech. That's fine. But so long as you can listen to them and understand them, then you will be able to talk with native speakers more easily.
All
Cool.
right.
I hope that was helpful. We've got just 4 seconds. Wonderful to meet you.
Okay, thank you so much. Bye
Bye.
bye. Take care.